Tanakoto katoa, everyone, and a huge welcome from me. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce the eighth webinar in our Thought Leadership series this evening, celebrating 10 years of the Otago online MBA. My name's Tony Gary, and I'm the MBA Director here at Otago Business School down in Dunedin. And it's my absolute pleasure to introduce you to tonight's presenter, who is Andrew Moseley. So, Andrew Moseley is a recent graduate, a recent alum from the Otago MBA, but Andrew has 15 years plus of experience in emerging and disruptive technologies across AI, machine learning, data capture, cloud, and the Internet of Things, working closely with organizations to automate workflows, reduce their costs, and enhance their productivity. What Andrew really focuses on is cutting through the complexity and the clutter and all that noise that surrounds AI to find those pragmatic solutions that work for organizations. Currently, Andrew is an AI consultant at SupaHuman AI, working with clients to identify how they can really leverage AI at a day-to-day level in terms of growing revenue, improving efficiency, saving clients hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes, I think, and certainly reducing their risk. And Andrew highlights how the MBA sharpens his approach, I think would be a fair comment from what I gather you said, Andrew, to particularly in the area of strategic decision making and ensuring that AI delivers, that he delivers both innovative solutions aligned with the client's long-term objectives. Now, Andrew is happy to take questions during the presentation, but can I just remind you all that chat is not available for the webinar, but if you could use the Q&A feature, which you should find at the bottom of your screen with a big question mark there, type your questions into there and I'll be happy to relay them to Andrew. So this evening, Andrew's presentation is on artificial intelligence and action, trends, trajectories, and transformative cases from the workplace. So over to you, Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for having me here. Pleasure to be here. And it feels like old times, being in my office in the evenings, seeing you on the screen and talking on a camera. And absolute pleasure to be here. And I'll just full disclosure, I had AI help me write this presentation. It also helped me with critiquing this presentation as well. So if I don't do very well, we can blame AI, okay? But either way, hopefully we'll get some good conversations going and get some good value out of this. So yeah, thank you very much. And let's get into it. So I kind of want to start off with the sort of statement here. AI is the future, but so what? Who cares? I kind of put the statement out here because some of you will be excited by the prospect of AI. Some of you will be apprehensive, and some of you will be somewhere in between. I myself in between, and I live and breathe this stuff. Been working in generative AI now for the past 2 years, and some of the stuff I see excites me. It does scare me. I've got kids, school age, and I've got family and colleagues, and what does the future bring, right? There's a lot's really transpired and changed in the last few years. If I look back in November 2022, when I was in the last throes of completing my MBA at Otago, the world kind of changed for me and everyone in it. And if you remember, OpenAI came out with ChatGPT 3.5, and that was in November 2022. And that completely changed the game. For the first time ever, we had access to intelligence that was smarter than us in some respects, and it was free. Prior to that, if you think around the PCs, the internet, etc., there was really no barrier. So there was a barrier. There's a barrier to play. You had to pay to play, right? Then there was a steep learning curve as well, right? So people not only had to front up the money, but also had to learn how to use technology. But fast forward to 2025, we all have a smart device and we all have this access to intelligence. And love it or hate it, the Pandora box has been opened and AI is here. And if we have a look at the amount of users that are using AI, we're getting near 1 billion users a month. 1 billion users, from the likes of ChatGPT to Claude to all of these different chat models that are available. But yeah, but the challenge is, what does good look like? Why do we care? So today I'll try and attempt to answer that question and kind of also answer these key questions as well for you. So one is, why should we be investing in AI? Why it's important. I'll talk to you about some of the examples and help you identify some of the use cases for you. I'll talk about hallucinations, what's that all about, privacy of data, because it always comes up in our conversations with people I talk to. And I'll also offer some practical advice for you guys as well. So that's sort of the topic of conversation and a bit about you and why you're here. This is what you're going to be able to learn today, and hopefully you'll get some value out of it. A bit about me. Well, Tony's already sort of explained who I am and what I do. And I'll kind of go into a little bit more about what SupaHuman does as a company, because the conversations that I have with my family, my friends, my prospects, customers are going to be the same conversations I have with you. So whether, if you want to look up SupaHuman or look up me, I'm going to have the same conversations with you as I am having with my friends and family as well. So, a bit about SupaHuman. They started up about a couple of years ago, and we deliver turnkey solutions for AI. So we automate all the hard stuff, and we build organizational intelligence. And we've got a team of 30 people, 30 staff that they have their PhDs in AI and machine learning, or most of which have their PhDs in AI and machine learning. And they build custom AI solutions that sit in our workspace. Now, we've delivered well over 100 projects to date across multiple different industries, so health, construction, finance, legal, nonprofit, you name it, we've worked in that space. And our key focus and our sole focus is AI and the automation of work. And our tagline is to free smart minds from tedious work. And so on that note, what do I mean by that? So I'm going to give you a preview of what we're doing as far as freeing smart minds from tedious, what I'm doing with our customers, trying to unlock value. Okay, so let's talk about Carpet Corp. This is a really early days customers that we've worked with, and we built a solution for them. Let's just build this out. So the challenge with Carpet Corp, they manually process thousands upon thousands of warranty claims, or used to at least, because they support over 80,000 products. And if you think about how long that might take an organization that has tens of thousands of transactions a year, you're going to get a warranty claim. Whether it's approved or denied, you're still going to get these claims coming through. But the challenge was that you had staff of about 12 individuals that were spending days, if not weeks, on some of those hard, complex claims to come up with an answer, come up with a result. So this was a lot of time spent, lost, trying to wrangle information to determine result. This was tedious work for smart people that they didn't want to do. Enter AI. So we're able to automate the collection of that customer information and process that warranty claim and take that down from a matter of weeks down to minutes. Huge impact for the business. We're able to reduce 98% of the processing claim time, reduce the lower labor costs, improve the customer satisfaction because they got to answer quicker, and they actually got a better quality result as well. So when we look at that time quality cost triangle, it really just goes out the window for the likes of AI. So the key point I'm trying to make is, if you take nothing away from this presentation today, what are the dumb things your smart people are doing? If you start there, you're in a really good place to identify good AI use cases. That's great, Andy, but why should I invest in AI? Why is it important? So if we kind of go back to, well, why Dave, our CEO, founder of the company, one of the three founders, he recognized that there was an opportunity there for businesses. He recognized that organizations with that AI assisted work will become uncompetitive and miss out on opportunities to grow, lower risk, and be more efficient. Now, I've worked in technology for a number of years, as Tony alluded to, but every business that I've come across have always been in the camp of wanting to grow, be more efficient, and reduce their risk. The cool thing with AI and all the other technologies that have come before it, it really does amplify and help assist with businesses and the business strategy that they want to employ. AI is not the strategy, it's the business strategy, and AI allows you to do that, amplifies that. So if I look at, rather than the technology itself, I kind of go and talk to customers and say, well, what is holding you back from achieving your goals? And generally speaking, it falls into three of these buckets: finding information, stuff that's bogging you down from low value work, and stuff that's consumed with writing. We built this out. So there's a McKinsey study that came out early this year, or about 12 months ago, and they said that the average knowledge worker took around an hour to an hour and a half to find information within an organization per day. It's per employee per day, spending over an hour trying to find information. That's crazy, right? A lot of lost productivity. Then if we think about the carpet cord example, lots of low value repetitive work that's not really adding a lot of value to the bottom line, and it's bogging down your teams. So I don't know if did I mention, I probably did, can't remember. But we were able to redeploy that team of 12 individuals to focus on high value tasks after we removed that claim processing task from their job, from their role. So they were able to spend time at the field, customer service, and focus on those high value tasks. It's a pretty cool use case. So again, it's an example of low value work. And thirdly, you have people within your organization that are consumed with writing. They could be writing reports, they could be doing research, they could be doing analysis, responding to RFPs, creating RFPs. They could be writing technical documents, such as geotechnical consultancy, which I'll talk about a use case in a moment. But yeah, there's three buckets that are holding you back from your business goals, generally speaking. And the pain point that we have here is we are biologically limited by our eyes and our fingers. We can only do things so fast. We can only compute and read so many things at once. We can only tap on the keyboard as fast as we can. And so if we're able to remove that biological limitation, what value does that bring back to the organization? Okay, so that's why it's important. It's all about what we're trying to achieve as a business, right? It's not about the technology. It's about the people. It's about the strategy. It's what we're trying to achieve. Okay, Andy, can you show me some examples? Of course, let's do that. Let's do that. So I want to just show you this logo board, not just to puff out our chest and say how good we are. It's not about that. It's more about showing you that there are companies out there doing this kind of stuff. I want to give you some confidence that this is what people are doing this kind of stuff. It's not as hard as what you think. Also, size and scale doesn't really matter. So, you could be quite a small startup, someone like Tradified, but you could be someone like Fonterra, right? And everywhere in between. The reason why you probably haven't heard a lot of successful use cases in the market is for a couple of reasons. So one is a competitive advantage. So many of the customers, and not even on this wall, won't allow us to talk about what they're doing or what we've done for them. These companies here were nice enough to allow us to do that, but they don't want to give the competition a heads up to say that we're using AI, right? Because if they are, then of course, others will follow. So they've got a cost advantage, or some kind of advantage there. And the other one, which is the perception on this is sort of changing a bit, but there's also this apprehension of telling customers that we are using AI for X, Y, and Z. Some customers don't care, some customers do, but like I said, um, the perception is starting to change on that one. Either way, the commonality across all of these customers is there is a better way of doing things, and so that's the kind of key takeaway I want to give you. Okay, so Saw on the Rock Consultants. I can't see any of your beautiful faces on screen, so I'm going to assume that most of you don't know who Saw on the Rock Consultants are, but don't worry, I'll tell you who they are and what they do. They're a geotechnical consultancy. They're based here in Auckland. They're one of the larger ones around. And their challenge is they have a bunch of engineers. Well, just go back. They have a bunch of engineers that spend 3 days out in the field, going out and surveying a piece of land ready for council consent, ready for build. And of course, these reports are put together so again you can go ahead and build on this site. Now that takes 3 days to do these core samples, do all this mathematical gymnastics, collect all this data, and do all those geotechnical things an engineer is expected to do. And then they'll spend about 10 hours producing this report. So it's a lot of sort of manual data entry, a lot of formatting, just a lot of compliance. Now, the thing is, these engineers know what the result is. They just have to formulate it and put it into a document that's ready for council consent. Takes them a lot of time. And the challenge with Soil and Rock Consultants is they charge, they have a fixed cost or fixed charge for these reports. So it might take them 8 hours, 20 hours, doesn't matter. It's a fixed cost and it's a really competitive market. They wanted to change things and be more efficient. And so enter AI. And the solution was we built essentially a co-pilot for them that was able to make the draft reporting, taking it down from the likes of 10 hours down to 20 minutes with very little errors, AI generated drafts with high quality, consistent output that was ready for council consent nationwide. So it's a really, really cool story about efficiency there and just being able to sort of keep up with the competitive nature of that market. If they have to charge less for their services because of the amount of competition out there, they've got the ability to do that because they've got this AI that now produces around 3,000 of these reports a year now, which is pretty cool. So now they have a day up their sleeve, these engineers, to go out and do all those engineering things. So again, it goes back to my point of freeing smart minds from tedious work. What are the dumb things your smart people are doing? These engineers don't want to do this work. They want to go out and do engineering things, right? Pretty cool story. I won't show that video, but I will show you what this sort of AI looks like in practicality in real life. So let's just play this little video here. I don't think there's any sound. If there is, that's okay. I'll also talk you through this. So this is the workspace as you see it today, a bit like a ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot experience. There's only kind of one way that you can kind of service this intelligence and interact with it. So you're a geotechnical engineer. You've already collected all the information and put it on a shared folder somewhere in your organization. You've given it a case number. The AI said, okay, what sections would you like me to report on? And the user here is saying, no, there's nothing I want you to exclude, just do the whole report. Okay, so this report's now in progress. Now it doesn't take 5 seconds. It does take a good 15 odd minutes. Now we're not going to wait 15 minutes. This thing's been sped up. But there's lots of things that are happening in the background to produce this output. So when people talk about AI agents, agentic, la-di-da, this is what this looks like in real life. So you are dealing with one intelligence, but what the intelligence is doing is breaking that task into subtasks. And that's what we do. That's what our team does, and that's what a lot of AI solution providers do. The way you go about it and all that kind of stuff is a bit of a secret sauce, but essentially this is what it looks like. Okay, so now this is sort of drafting up. The final output's almost ready. Oh, here's the report number, successfully drafted. It's going to be able to click on this document. So like I said, in the space of 15 minutes, here's the report being produced. Now, as a user, you can check through all this information. You can edit it if you like, but as you can see, all
So,
the imagery is there.
sorry, Andrew, we can't actually see that. I've just got the
Oh,
YouTube still. Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
I apologize. I apologize. Sorry about that. Here we go. Been speaking for 2 minutes and nobody's seen my screen. Cool. All right. Well, for the recorded people, they can just fast forward through that. Okay. So as a user, I'm as a geotechnical engineer, I've got all the information. I've put it into a shared folder. I've given the AI the project number. It's asked me, okay, what sections do you want me to exclude? There's none. Okay, cool. Let me go ahead and draft that for you. And like I said, this is not something that takes around 5 seconds. This is a process that takes around 15 minutes. We just sort of fast forward that a little bit. Here we go. Just generating that final output. Oh, so that report is ready to view, drafted in the sections that you asked for. You can click onto this document. And here we are. So it's been prepared with all the sections included. And if you scroll down, you can have a look that all the imagery is there, all the numbers, topography, the whole 9 yards is now being put into that document. Tables, everything. To which you can edit if you like. You can print it off. And in a moment, we'll show you that you can download this document. I love this piece. You download the report. There's also an explainability report, which the AI can tell you how it got to its result. This is part of what we built there. But here's the report itself. It's in a Word document templated to Saw on the Rocks format. So the AI has produced this. Pretty cool stuff, right? And so all of these are now, all 3,000 of these reports are done via the AI per year, and it's saved Saw on the Rock a huge amount of time and effort, which is pretty cool. All right, so I'll pause for a reflection there. Is there any questions, Tony, that are coming through, or should I just keep carrying on?
None at the moment, Andrew, so you can keep on going.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Right. Here's another example. Master Academy, Marine and Specialized Technologies Academy of New Zealand. Now, Master Academy help with training boat builders. They're pretty much one of kind in New Zealand, to be fair, and they're well recognized internationally. But they face the same challenge with a lot of vocational education providers, PTEs, private training establishments, where they provide NZQA courses, and they must comply to those standards. And it takes a long time for them to produce this content. So they have not only do they have to produce this course content, they have to produce the assessment, they have to study guides and provide a coach, etc., etc. And these standards do change all the time. And so being able to manage that and produce new courses on a regular basis is very, very consuming. So we're able to take that from essentially 6 weeks down to 6 minutes with a integrated workspace. And yeah, we were able to reduce the creation time by 80%. We were able to, enhance the training visits, and get better digital support, and then, streamline those assessments. And yeah, been an absolute game changer for the likes of Master Academy. So much so that they've been singing off the rooftops about what they've been doing, and they want the whole industry to kind of come with them as well for the journey too. And it's not just people that helping training people build boats. It could be butchery, bakery, all of these other PTEs that exist. They all face the same challenge of managing these unit standards. So yeah, really cool use case there. Okay, Jenny King, another use case. I think it just really helps to just kind of paint a picture about what people are doing. All I'm doing is just showing you what just average businesses going through the challenge of wanting to do better for themselves and for their customers and for their staff. And this is no different, really. I mean, we look at Jenny King. Jenny King is a commercial cleaning and facility services. They have a franchise model, and their challenge is that they're growing. They're growing as a business, so they onboard new franchises all the time. So, you buy a patch in a specific region, and you buy into the brand of Jenny King, and Jenny King provides you all of the products, the training, and they provide you, most importantly, the business. They provide you they don't provide you the leads, they convert those leads. They provide you the business. So the problem is they're selling these franchises, but they need to make sure that the lead funnel and converting this business is coming through. So they had their reps and telemarketers trawl through a whole bunch of data to try and find one lead. That would usually take them about 20 minutes. That's now taken down to about 90 seconds. So we're able to produce a report every morning, delivered into their inbox that pulls, filters, and prioritizes high value leads from their internal CRM data as well as external and public data. They get a list, the sales reps can immediately engage with. So they're not having to wrangle with data and have to find context on that customer and find the right contact. They've got all that information at hand. So what's happened? What's the impact of that? Well, of course, time. They've saved a lot of time, but most importantly, they're being able to close more deals. They get better quality leads because the AI has found those leads. Like I said, better quality, and they're being able to convert more of these leads to the point where they're actually having to hire more BDMs to keep up with the amount of leads that are coming through. So this might be the first case ever where AI is adding jobs, not taking jobs away, right? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Again, the key theme here is, where have you got smart people doing dumb stuff? And again, sort of just build this out. Where have you got people writing reports? Where have you got people assessing multiple documents? Are people writing policies? Are they writing SOPs? Are they doing audits? Are they looking for insights? They could be doing any number of things. And if you look at all across those use cases that I've given you, essentially they're wanting to grow, be more efficient, and reduce their risk. And AI is, again, a good lever for that. Okay. That's great, Andy. How do I identify my use cases in AI? Because my business is unique. Can you give me some use cases off the shelf that exactly identify with me? And the answer is no, not really. I can't do that because your business is unique. But I will sort of give you some advice in carrying slides. But if you were sitting in front of me today asking me this question, this is exactly what I'd be doing with all of you. So we build out the sort of axis, and this is how we kind of identify use cases and where should we start? Because the one thing is there's lots of ideas, There's lots of things that we could be doing, but we don't want to bite off more than we can chew. We don't want to attack the old elephant. We want to kind of deliver the most amount of value with the low amount of investment and risk, right? So if we build out this axis, one is value, one is feasibility. So I look at value and it's really subjective. It's got a plus or minus. There's no dollar signs, but there are some dollar signs. But that's subjective. I look at this and go, well, if you've got a use case, how much, if we solved it with AI, just say that we could solve it with AI, how much of an impact would that have in your organization today? Would it in fact affect one person, two people, 100 people, 1,000 people? How many people would that affect? And to what value? Is it going to save time? Is it going to bring in more revenue? Who knows, right? I'll fill out what that means in a moment. And then the other side of the axis is feasibility. How hard is it for the technology to do? And what we're aiming for really is that top right corner. And we call that, lo and behold, a no-brainer. If we're able to find a use case that is high value and fairly easy to do, then that's your first starting point. If it's low value and fairly easy to do, we would call that low-hanging fruit. The other one's a big bet. So high value, but quite hard to do from a tech perspective. And then, of course, everything ends up being a backlog if it's low value and hard to do. So that's where I'd start. But of course, where do you place these use cases? I'll talk about value in a second, but let's just talk about sort of tech feasibility. Now, I can count on my hand 4 or 5 fingers where I haven't come across a use case that AI can't solve. So that's pretty huge. It does come down to how hard it is to do. Now, some examples in that logo board that I showed you and the projects we worked on probably have a medium to hard kind of. Actually, no, I'd say medium. I'd say medium now. We've learnt a lot over the years. We've got a lot of battle scars and we've learnt a lot. So I'd say most of the use cases we worked on are kind of that medium. Anything that's easy, you tend to be able to get something off the shelf. And of course, hard's too hard, and might be that the technology is just not mature enough to work now. But of course, in 6 months' time, that might change. But if we talk about value for a moment, there's sort of 3 categories that we use to define the value. One is people, the first is risk, second one is risk, and the third is revenue and cost. So people is a very simple equation. If you think about the use case that you have today, how many people are working on that task? What's the percentage of time? What is the cost of that person? Put those numbers together, and then you'll get, a cost of what that looks like. And of course, if you're charging out by the hour, you might want to look at what the upside is a day. That's all subjective, but there is a calculator you can use, and I can show you what that looks like as well. Risk is very subjective. There's lots of many different types of risk. But if I look at some examples today that based on actually the customers I've even sort of spoke to today, one was a prospect, one was a customer. And the first one was the risk around, if we don't do this, we could lose business because we have to drive costs out of our business to produce this product or service. So we have to use AI, and if we don't do this, there's a risk that someone else will do. Someone will cut our lunch, and so we'll lose that business. So there's that risk. There's also, again, I talked to another customer today, sorry, prospect, and they mentioned that they were outsourcing some of the content that they were producing. And that ended up being a problem for the business because the content that was being produced by this third party was no good. And they ended up having some reputational damage because they had no control of what the output was happening. So they want to bring this sort of service in-house, which is definitely possible with the likes of AI. So again, those risks are very subjective. You kind of work through those. Now, if we look at the likes of revenue and costs, this is interesting as well. So you don't want to double count. You don't want to take the savings of the people that you are taking off that task. This is more or less around if you are able to do something quicker, faster, more efficiently, does that mean you can put in your hat in the ring for more business now? So if I go back to the likes of Saul and Rock, they have more business that they can go after now because the engineers have capacity to do more reports. So that's what I mean by upside opportunity cost. Cool. All right. So once you've kind of figured what your use cases are and being able to put them on a scale, um, and which we can help you with, or any kind of AI solution provider can do that. That's kind of where we should start, right? That no-brainer. And of course, I'll talk about a little bit about quantitative and qualitative. But yeah, there's multiple different ways you can measure ROI. It could be, lifetime customer value. It could be likes of productivity, cost savings, increased sales. That's pretty straightforward. The other one could be, the quantitative. So giving your staff the right tools to do their job, brand perception, enhanced customer experience, cultural impact, all of that kind of stuff. So you can see what I'm saying. It's, can be a bit subjective. All right. If you wanted to calculate the ROI, you can actually go to a website and have a look. But like I said, the maths is pretty simple. But yeah, we just to make it even easy for you. All right, cool. So I'm getting towards the end of my presentation. There's only sort of a couple more questions that I've got to answer for you. And one is around hallucinations and privacy of data. And the other one is, what some advice I can offer you after. But yeah, here we are. So what about hallucinations and what about privacy of data? I hear this a lot, and I kind of want to walk you through a use case. I want to walk you through a customer profile, and that is Sky City. That's who we work with today. Very highly regulated industry, multifaceted. So they got restaurants and cafes, obviously have hotels. They also have gambling as well. So they've a highly regulated industry, multifaceted business, highly compliant market, and they hold a huge amount of sensitive data, PII. Now, we're able to solve the challenge around security, around privacy, around hallucinations. You can privately host this stuff either in the cloud or on-prem. It's more expensive on-premise, but it can be done. You can anonymize the data before it hits the large language model and de-anonymize the data. So again, there's no sort of sensitive data going into these large language models. And hallucinations with good engineering can reduce this. So the key message or the key takeaway I'm trying to make here is if Sky City can do it and utilize AI, you can too. And if you're ever in doubt, use enterprise grade technology. Suddenly, if you start using free tools, you end up being the product because the models are using your data to train, and God knows what you're putting into those free models. So use enterprise grade technologies, licensed technologies from all the big guys like Microsoft, AWS, and Google, because you're protected in some way, some shape, way, or form. But if you want extra guardrails, you want to talk to AI solution providers. All right. What other advice can I offer you? Well, to succeed in this world, you do need to be well resourced, and to be technical. And the challenge is the market's moving quite fast. It's quite fragmented. This stuff is really complex and it's really expensive. So if we talk about how quickly things are moving in the likes of AI, they are moving fast. Business moves very slow though. I will say that all of the stuff that we've got in production today is not bleeding edge. It might be cutting edge 12 or 18 months ago, but it's so well matured now that we're not doing like crazy stuff. And that just sort of goes to show where the sort of market maturity is at the moment. But the point I'm trying to make is businesses are really sort of struggling with this wait and see approach. Do we just wait for a product to come off the shelf that's going to service our needs? I think it's problematic just waiting, but again, you move at the speed of trust, right? Automation is complex. Yep, We get it. We've been there. We know. It is quite hard. And developers are expensive. Again, we know because we've got lots of individuals that we pay big sums of money to do what they do. And so, what my advice is, if there is a universal, if it's a universal problem that you're facing, i.e., the industry faces it or the wider market faces it, chances are there's an off-the-shelf product that you can use. Might be a $20 item. Let's say a note taker can sit on your meeting, it can transcribe and then give you a summary of that meeting. Those problems exist across multiple organizations and you can get a product off the shelf. But if you have a problem that is quite unique because of your processes and your systems, chances are SupaHuman or another AI solution provider can provide you a custom built solution, provided the value is big enough there to warrant the investment. Okay. The other thing is, and I don't think this gets talked to enough, I don't think we really think about the technology. I think we talk about the technology too much. We get caught up in the technology too much. And I think that's a cultural thing, right? I think most of the time, the challenges that I face when talking to anyone is not necessarily the technology, but merely the culture, the process, and people and their appetite to want to change. And so when you're caught up with the technology, you kind of forget the problem that you're trying to solve. And then if you don't really know what your business strategy is from top to bottom, then you might be focusing on the wrong problems to solve as well. So you really need to ask the question, are you actually solving the right thing? I also notice that if you're an organization that doesn't have a culture for continuous improvement, broken systems, AI alone won't fix broken systems. It won't fix unclear processes or poor habits. In fact, it's going to make it's going to amplify those bad things and those good things as well. So if you're in an organization at the moment where doing the same old thing is what you've always done and being able to try and put AI or some new technology into your organization, try not to bite off more you can chew. Start off small blast radius with a team that has an appetite to want to change. And that's a good starting point. And so winning means aligning leadership and teams on why and where AI matters, moving fast to learn and adapt before your competitors do. And rather than just focusing on like one-off projects, how can you embed AI in everything that you do? Now, it sounds great when I just rolls off the tongue, right? But in practicality, it's quite difficult to do. But the key message I'm trying to convey here is AI does not replace strategy. It merely accelerates it and can actually make it worse as well. So yeah, that's it. So I hope that was of value. I really enjoyed being able to talk to a camera, I guess. But I love doing this stuff. I enjoy sort of showing people the art of the possible. It does excite me, the prospects of what AI can do. But yes, it does also concern me with where things are going. But I kind of look at it and go, well, the future is how you make of it. You can build your own future. You can be the master of your own destiny if you kind of leverage off this stuff. But yeah, we only move at the pace of trust, right? And yeah, it's still very early days with this stuff. Yes, we are three years in for this transformative stuff, but we're only just getting started. You can say that I'm an expert, but I've only really been doing this for the past couple of years, and we're all kind of learning at the same token as well. Anyways, Tony, that's me. I hope you found that of value.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andrew. That was what I would call a very accessible presentation, even for an old laggard like me. So thank you very much for that.
You're
Got
welcome.
a couple of questions coming through. Um,
Sure.
are there specific industries better suited to apply AI to their operations than others?
Uh, yes, yes, there is. Uh, I look at sectors that are highly regulated, highly compliant. Um, I look at finance. I look at engineering. I look at education, where just professional services in general, white-collared workers, there is just a lot of human capital deeply wedded to the whole entire process up and down the chain. So, yeah, look, definitely within that space. If you're a plumber, electrician, if you've got a trade, not a lot we can be doing there. I mean, obviously you can streamline the way that you would invoice or communicate with the customer, etc. But yeah, those organizations that are doing a lot of writing, a lot of assessment, analysis, content generation, all that kind of stuff, that's where I see AI playing a lot of, giving a lot of value.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Um, how much of the conversations you're having with organizations are around governance and ethics of AI, or is the common behavior just to get in and build something?
It's a mixture of both. So, funny enough, Elizabeth, many organizations that we're talking to today already have governance and ethics in play. They've laid down a foundation. They go, okay, right, this is what we believe is um, a good way of doing things. We've set a foundation. Now we can go and engage with people like ourselves to go in and get building. So they've generally laid down a foundation. If they haven't, we can certainly help them navigate through that process. But mostly, almost all the times that I've dealt with anyone, they've already got some kind of governance in place, which is really encouraging.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Um, what's something you haven't been able to do? That's a good question.
Okay, so there's one use case I can remember that we came across around 6 months ago, and that was with a solar farm, solar panel farm. They have drones that will survey the panels above as well as below. Now, there's lots of technology available where you could infrared heat map how well a panel is performing on top, but they wanted a solution where they could interpret all the imagery from below the panels and to figure out if there's some loose wires, if there's um, vegetation, things kind of falling apart. And they wanted to have an AI that was able to analyze all these hours and hours of footage. So our team had did a bit of investigation and yeah, quickly realized that there isn't really a good model available today that can do that kind of stuff um, in a consistent way. So what we said to them is wait 6 months will probably be solved. So perhaps I should get our team to have a look at that today. But yeah, the things are moving quickly.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Um, oh, here's a good question. What's the investment required to build what you're describing? Can you give us
Okay.
some ideas around that?
Yeah. Okay, so generally speaking, this stuff can cost anywhere between 50 to around 200,000. And we liken it to essentially a full-time FTE, a full-time employee salary. If you can see value unlocking for that kind of investment, then there's a pathway. If you don't see that, then it's really not worth looking at. So you do have to have a little bit of scale. But we've worked with organizations with less than 10 people and they've got this massive problem they want to solve and we'll front up the money to choose that kind of solution. But equally, there's lots of tools that you can get off the shelf for the likes of $20 a month that you can use and get on with. And you'll actually get a bit of value out of those. And then once you sort of figure out that you've kind of reached the ceiling with that consumer AI, that's when you can start looking to work with someone like ourselves that can help sort of industrialize that and have some consistency. Because all we're doing is just getting that consistency level up and building it so it's scalable for not one person, but 100, 200,000 people. And that's how we work. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, sure. And can you give us a little bit of idea idea around the timescales for some of those projects? Obviously, they vary enormously, but
Mm.
you know, from the first sorts of concepts through to implementation.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So if anyone's gone through a digital transformation exercise, they will know that it takes years and millions of dollars to kind of get things going, and sometimes they don't really see the benefit of it. Um, Lucky enough, AI is not like that, not like that at all. So we can quickly get to value and build something in a matter of weeks, not months. Well, I say that we generally speaking, it's around sort of 10 to 12 weeks before we can kind of birth some kind of intelligence. But that's all singing, all dancing, production ready type stuff. So yeah, we can get a lot done in that amount of time.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Let me just check if there's any more questions. I think you've probably oh so someone an anonymous attendee said, "Do you share these webinars with group participants following its conclusion?" I asked so I can do a review. I'm assuming that's a positive review, Andrew. Um, yes, we do upload them to YouTube. We do upload
Cool.
them to YouTube. So yeah, we'll inform all the people who've registered when we've done that. Okay, so if there's no more questions or comments, and it just rests with me to thank you very much, Andrew. I mean, I think the two takeaways from me are, very aptly, what are the dumb things your smart people are doing? Really sort of probably resonates with a lot of people, and of course, we move at the speed of our trust, which I think is a really interesting way of portraying how the importance of developing relationships to build that trust in the technology and AI.
Mm.
Okay, so it just rests with me to thank you, Andrew, and just a reminder that this time next week we've got our very own Gregor Schmaltz, who many of you will recall was a lecturer on well, he still is a lecturer on the MBA. He's here on campus at the moment, so he'll be doing our webinar next week. But for now, it's a big thank you again to Andrew. Thank you.
Very welcome. I hope everyone found the value, and yeah, look forward to next week.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, team.